Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ video right here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. Thank you guys for your continued support of NoDQ.com. Stay tuned to the site for the very latest regarding the upcoming WWE Extreme Rules pay-per-view. For now, I got your questions, and a reminder, there are occasionally people asking me why I never answer their questions. Some people feel I'm playing favorites. That is not the case at all. I try to answer as many different questions from different people as possible. If I've never answered one of your questions for whatever reason, use the hashtag PAIV1 and I will do my best to answer your question on a future video. Now with that being said, let's get down to today's questions. First one today comes from Ziggler is Money. Do you think Randy Orton will get the WWE title back at Money in the Bank? It's in his hometown, and I think Orton versus AJ Styles is the best choice for SummerSlam. I agree with you that I think Randy Orton versus AJ Styles is the match WWE should do at SummerSlam for the WWE title. But now, Orton's lost the title, and I think that Orton winning it back and facing AJ isn't quite as big of a deal as if Orton had stayed champion and had a good run as champion. So I have mixed feelings about it, and I think that there are several possibilities for SummerSlam now. This really opens the door for WWE to do any number of things. We have this pay-per-view Money in the Bank. Yes, it is in Randy Orton's hometown. However, we know how WWE is when it comes to people in their hometown. They tend to lose a lot. We saw Bayley most recently lose in San Jose, her hometown, at the Payback pay-per-view. At this point, I think it could go either way. I think WWE will give this Mahal thing a couple of months, so I could see Mahal retaining the title, but we still have several weeks away until Money in the Bank. Let's focus on one pay-per-view at a time. We got Extreme Rules coming up first. In a couple weeks, I'll give more of a thorough prediction on that match. Right now, I think it's very much up in the air. It could go either way. And on a similar topic here from Ben, if Jinder Mahal is facing, or if Jinder Mahal is the WWE Champion at SummerSlam, who do you see him facing? If Mahal gets by Randy Orton at Money in the Bank, I could see it being Jinder Mahal versus John Cena. John Cena is set to come back soon, and he should be back in time for the 4th of July edition of SmackDown. There's a lot of talk about John Cena possibly facing Jinder Mahal on that SmackDown 4th of July. That storyline with the American versus the anti-American on the big holiday, Independence Day. I could see WWE doing that, and maybe Cena wins the title on SmackDown Live, and then they do a rematch at SummerSlam. That is certainly a possibility, but AJ Styles would be the other choice, going with Jinder Mahal versus AJ Styles at SummerSlam. I would think that if Mahal gets through Orton, it's going to be either Cena or AJ as Mahal's opponent for SummerSlam. But also, let's not forget about Battleground. We have another pay-per-view in July before SummerSlam, which is, I believe, a SmackDown branded show. Yes, because Great Balls of Fire is Raw branded. Too many pay-per-views. It's hard to really keep track of them. But it's hard to say right now because of the Battleground pay-per-view being in the way. Maybe Cena and Mahal have a match. Maybe AJ and John Cena have another match for the WWE title at SummerSlam. So there are a lot of possibilities, like I said before. This could go in any number of different directions now. I thought prior to Backlash, it was pretty clear it was going to be Orton versus AJ Styles, but now, not so sure. Got this one here from Lit Up. Can you see Maurice interfering and getting Dean Ambrose disqualified so Miz walks out as the IC champion? Absolutely. I think the whole idea behind doing this storyline is that Dean Ambrose can get screwed out of the title and the Miz can win with this stipulation without Ambrose actually taking a fall. I could definitely see something like it happening. And the interesting thing is that on Raw this week, we had The Miz coming out there and getting Ambrose disqualified in the match with the Drifter. Now, what's stopping Maurice from fake attacking her husband right when the bell rings and Miz gets DQ'd? I suppose they could do that, and then the referee says, no, Maurice is going to the back, the match is restarting. They might do something like that to keep the match going, but it is an interesting stipulation, although it doesn't really scream out extreme to me all that much. I think they could have done a better stipulation, but they're doing what they're doing, and I just hope that after this pay-per-view we're finally done with Miz versus Dean Ambrose. I'm just so tired of it, and I'm ready for something else. Got this one here from Brett. Have you realized that we are on the 5th WWE Champion already in 2017? AJ Styles, John Cena, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, and Jinder Mahal. Yes, I have noticed that, and that's one reason why, even though I'm not a fan of Mahal as WWE Champion, as you guys all know, they've done it, so they might as well give it a chance and see what happens over the next couple months. To just hot potato the title again, I think would continue to water down the title more than it's already been watered down. Jinder Mahal, whatever. See where he can go with it. You've done it. And if Mahal loses to Cena and then they do Cena versus AJ and AJ beats Cena, I mean, it would just get ridiculous to keep hot potatoing the title. The next guy to hold the title should really be holding it for a while, although Randy Orton winning it from Mahal and then facing AJ, you know, that would be more hot potatoing. So, not sure what direction WWE should go in at this point. I'm starting to not care, and to me that's not a good thing. I think it's important to care about the titles. I know some people out there are saying, well, they're just props, but that's what Vince Russo said in 1999 and 2000, that the WCW was just a prop, the title was just a prop, and look what happened to the company. The argument can be that we are in a different era now, and titles really don't mean anything. It's a different... The business is different. WWE's business model has changed. But I still think titles should be protected. I guess that's the old fart in me, where I would like to see the titles mean something. Yes, this is a fake sport. I love when people throw the fake word out there, that I'm getting worked up over a fake title. It's just like a movie. You watch a movie, you want to suspend disbelief. Same thing with wrestling. Yes, we know it's fake, but you watch it and you want to be able to suspend disbelief and feel that it's real. And WWE is a simulated sport. And in sports you have titles, and titles have value depending on who has the title. And usually the person that has the title in a real sport is considered to be the best of the best. Yes, when you have two professional athletes at equal levels going at it, then anybody can win. But in this case of Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton, do you really believe Jinder Mahal is on Randy Orton's level? And the answer is no. But I'll stop now before I start ranting about Jinder Mahal and the WWE title again. But Brett, I feel that WWE should try to avoid doing all these title changes if they want to restore some credibility to their most prestigious title that has been in existence since the early 60s. Alright, this next one comes from B. Hill. Who in WWE thinks it's a good idea to have a kendo stick on a pole match? On a pole is a garbage WCW match stip. Probably somebody who's never watched WCW would be my best guess, because if they did watch WCW, they would know how stupid of a gimmick it was. I'm just so sick of the kendo stick matches. I feel like every WWE hardcore match, they use the kendo stick, and it's really old. To me, it's not that extreme. I'm tired of it, and I think WWE needs to really live up to the name Extreme Rules if they're even going to bother doing a pay-per-view like this. I mean, what's the point? Why do a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules when you're just going to do these watered-down matches that are not that extreme? I think WWE should just consider dropping the concept. I've talked about this before with the themed pay-per-views. I think Extreme Rules is one of those pay-per-views that if you're going to be a PG company and you're not going to do these crazy-ass matches, then don't have a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules. That's just my take on it. This one comes from Dave Lesnar. Are WWE stupid? Batista wants to come back, he said so on Chris Jericho's podcast. He's a mega star. He wants Triple H, why not give him it? I'm really confused as to why WWE would not bring back Batista if Batista is interested in coming back. Now, with that being said, I'm not sold on Triple H versus Batista. I'm not interested in seeing that match again. If Batista came back, I would want to see him against Brock Lesnar. Maybe WWE doesn't want to do that match, but To me, that would be the match to do if you bring back Batista. And I do think WWE should bring back Batista. I think with his success in Hollywood, there's some value in bringing him back, and I think there's some value in Batista versus Brock Lesnar. I know it might not be the most technically sound match, but I think the star power would be there, and it would be a spectacle. I would definitely bring back Batista for that match and let him have one last run and be able to end his career on a high note rather than what happened with that previous run. I would be surprised if WWE did not bring him back, considering how well he's doing in Hollywood. You would think WWE would want to capitalize on that, and they would see money in a match like Batista versus Brock Lesnar. This one comes from The Sinful Saint. Will NXT ever have a super show like WrestleMania, or is every TakeOver show their version of WrestleMania? I doubt it. I think WWE will continue doing what they're doing with NXT. You know, for this last NXT TakeOver special, they did not sell out in Chicago. Now, granted, Backlash did not either, but still, I think that NXT is catered to more of the hardcore fans. I doubt they would do a really big show like that unless they were certain they could draw a huge crowd. And I'm not sure if NXT is mainstream enough for that to happen. And I think they have a good thing going now. I think as it is, maybe they're doing too many shows. You know, I think when they were doing one show for every major pay-per-view, like one for the Royal Rumble, one for WrestleMania, one for SummerSlam, one for Survivor Series, I think that's it. But now they're starting to do them for the minor pay-per-views like they did with Backlash. I think maybe that's becoming a little bit overkill. And again, we're just seeing too much WWE shows, too many WWE shows, and I think it's getting to be a little bit overkill, and they're oversaturating the product. I say if it's not broken, don't fix it. So I would think that they're probably not going to do that, but you never know. They might just keep adding shows and piling them on more and more. This one comes from Grant Smithy. Hi Aaron, I'm curious to know, do you agree that Natalya is a big underachiever in the WWE? I would say she's a fairly significant underachiever. I think Natalya has been one of the most consistently good performers in WWE over the past decade, and she really hasn't gotten the credit for it. And, you know, when WWE was doing the Women's Revolution, she was kind of just there. I think maybe being on Total Divas hurt her a little bit. Maybe that gave her the image of being a diva rather than being a great wrestler. But she has the pedigree and she has the skill. She's definitely been a solid performer, and her promos are really good. She can play a heel. She can play a face. You know, I'd like to see her get a chance to be women's champion at some point, and I do feel she's one of the best in the company. When you look at all the attributes, you put it all together, yeah, I would say she's definitely underappreciated in WWE. This one comes from Mr. Yuck. With a lacking main card run, is now the time to pull the trigger on teaming Shelton Benjamin with American Alpha? I don't know if bringing back Shelton Benjamin to get over American Alpha is the way to go, but they got to do something with American Alpha. I mean, it's so bad how these guys are not even on television now, and they were just having these great matches in NXT with the Revival, and now they're playing second fiddle to Breezango, and that just goes to show that doing comedy is more important than having the skills in the ring, I guess. But it's a real shame, you know. American Alpha were doing so well in NXT, and now they're struggling to even get noticed. Bringing Shelton Benjamin back, I suppose you could do a 3-person tag team maybe, form a faction with them, maybe turn American Alpha heel. You got to do something with them. So what do you guys think? Leave a comment. Let me know what you think WWE should do with American Alpha. Got another one here from The Sinful Saint. With Mickie James in WWE, how long before we see Magnus in WWE? He has everything to be successful, in my opinion. To be honest with you, I do not see dollar signs with Magnus. I think he's an okay wrestler. I think he has a good look. I think his promos are okay, but I think he's just okay. Then again, I've only seen his work in TNA, so I'm not sure what else he's capable of doing. If he does end up in WWE, I think it will be because of Mickie James, because of her influence, but I'm not sure if she has enough political stroke to get him in there. I would think she might have a little bit. She can mention his name to Triple H or somebody else, you know. It might happen. We might see Magnus in WWE someday. But right now, I mean, I'm not sold on him being a major star in WWE. I don't really see it in him. When he was TNA champion, it did absolutely nothing for business. If anything, their business continued to decline with him as champion. Don't know if he would really make it far in WWE. That I'm not so sure about. This one comes from STE Hawker. Did you notice at Backlash that KO took out AJ's knee, but on SmackDown his knee was 100% and there was no mention of it? Yeah, I did notice that, and I'm really over it at this point. WWE doesn't really do a very good job of following up with these injury storylines, and you look at Seth Rollins as a prime example. They had that doctor appear on Raw right before WrestleMania saying that no doctor in the world would clear him, and then after WrestleMania, Rollins is just acting normal again and just doing all these matches despite all the stuff Triple H did to him at WrestleMania. Rollins just kept going on as usual. The whole thing makes no sense, and we've seen it in other cases as well, like you mentioned. It is a bit frustrating, but again, I guess I should just check my brain at the door and deal with it. Stop complaining and just enjoy it, as the WWE defenders out there would say. Just enjoy it. Stop questioning things. Stop looking for logic. How dare you? You have to accept every single thing that WWE throws at you. You have to just be a fanboy and like it for what it is. WWE doesn't make any sense. That's what we love about WWE. But yeah, it does frustrate me. But what am I going to do? Nothing's going to change. And I guess I just have to sit back and enjoy it. Got this one here from James. What are your thoughts on street clothes worn as ring gear like Ambrose, Harper, and Samson? I personally dislike it. I agree with you. I've never been a fan of guys coming out there in their street clothes as their gear. And that goes back to Raven, I think. Raven was the guy that really started the trend in ECW, wearing the jean shorts and the Rock brand t-shirt. I wasn't a fan of it then, and then all these guys, you saw like a whole generation of wrestlers copying Raven. I guess Raven set it a trend because all these guys were going out there in their shorts and their t-shirt. You know, very, very backyard wrestling type of feel to it. To me, it's very low rent. I think it makes a guy look like a backyard wrestler instead of looking like a larger-than-life character, which I think he should be. He should not look like some bum that just came from the back alley and stepped into a ring. You know, if you do it every once in a while, I guess it's okay. If the guy's gimmick is that he's a crazy bum. But yeah, with Ambrose and Harper, especially how both of them look pretty much the same, and sometimes they have the same colored wife beater as well. They look like they should be a tag team. Not a fan of it. I think it lacks effort and creativity to just go out there with a wife beater and jeans. That'll do it for this edition of NoDQ video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I know some of you were sick of the gender comments, so try not to ask me gender questions if you do not want me talking about Jinder Mahal, because I'll probably just be negative. And I want to go on a little quick rant before I wrap this thing up. You know, I appreciate the questions from you guys. I appreciate the views. But, you know, I'm not trying to be negative all the time. For those of you that have been following me for a while, you know I try to give the best opinion on what I'm watching, and I'm not looking at it from a fanboy perspective. I'm trying to look at it from a business perspective, and I'm trying to be balanced with my thoughts. I do not like being negative. I'm not a negative person. I just call what I see. If I think WWE is putting on a good show, I give them all the credit in the world. If they're putting on a bad show, then I'm going to criticize it. My job is to critique the shows, what I like, what I don't like. Sometimes there's going to be a lot more things I like than dislike. Sometimes there's going to be a lot more things I dislike than like. That's just the nature of what I do. And some people, to this day, do not understand that. They watch these videos and they're saying, oh, you're so negative all the time. And then I have another group of people other times will be saying, all I do is kiss WWE's ass. I get this a lot. I get people saying I'm kissing their ass. I get people saying I'm always negative. And it's like, dude, do you even watch the videos? If you watch the videos, you know I'm balanced. Sometimes I'm positive, sometimes I'm not. I prefer to be positive. I wish WWE was doing better business. The better business they do, the better NoDQ.com does, and the more money I make. I wish TNA was doing better. Again, I'm not overly negative on TNA. It is what it is. And I wish I could say WWE business was booming better than it's ever been. They are making money, but like CM Punk said so many times, Vince is a millionaire that should be a billionaire. I think that that was probably the realest thing that he said in that promo. And it just makes me think of how WWE, as a corporation, sometimes they're their own worst enemy. You know, I think that they're playing it really safe as a corporation, and they're not thinking outside the box anymore and really trying to expand their audience. I think they're satisfied with where they're at and just being a somewhat successful company instead of a company that could be doing so much better. And you know, I think if they really tried harder, they could potentially get as popular, or at least close to as popular as they were during the Attitude Era. I do not think it's completely out of reach. And when you say it's out of reach, you know, I think Road Dogg said it, wrestling's never going to be as popular as it was. To me, that's defeat. I think you should always strive to do better. I think WWE should always try to put shows together like they have serious competition on the other station, like WCW still exists, and try to get those numbers up to the Attitude Era. Try to boost business to that level. Try to take it as far as you can go. And I don't think they're doing it. So that's my rant. That's how I feel about WWE in a nutshell. Thank you guys again for your support. Those of you that do enjoy the videos and do understand that I'm balanced and things are not always going to be positive, things are not always going to be negative. I'm just real. I'm just giving you the most honest opinion on what I see. And I've been watching wrestling for a very long time, and I'm just calling it as I see it. So with that being said, I will see you guys next time.